We're picking up on our series of all the tools that are in Microsoft 365 that you're probably not using, with one of my favorites because of the way that it integrates across various applications, and that's Microsoft Loop. Loop fixes what is, in my opinion, the biggest problem with Microsoft 365, which is scattered information across your whole tenant. Let's get into it. Loop's an extremely flexible and collaborative workspace that is easy to use and share across your organization. It's not an app so much per se, but instead a framework for pieces that can snap into Teams, Outlook, OneNote, as well as Word, Excel, and your PowerPoint presentations. If you've ever used the functionality in SharePoint to have multiple people working on a document or a spreadsheet at the same time, then you're familiar with seeing those updates change in real time. Now, imagine that you could do the same thing across the entire Office suite. That's what Loop is designed to do. Loop is broken up into 4 distinct building blocks. At the top of the hierarchy, you have workspaces. Think of workspaces as rooms that you're going to keep similar pieces in. Maybe you have a workspace for a particular project, or maybe some creative endeavor that requires a team. But in either case, the workspace is the top level bucket for all the downline Loop pieces. Inside your workspace, you'll have pages. A page is just one piece of your project or your creative endeavor where you're going to plan, brainstorm, and collect notes. You can then have sub-pages, which are an additional level that you can dive deeper into specific areas for the organization. And finally, you have components, which are the secret sauce to Loop. These are magic little auto-updating mini documents that work all across apps. It's hard to do justice to components in a description here, so you're going to have to see it in action. Let's jump into the demo. Now, we've got this Teams channel here called Microsoft 365 Tools, and I'm going to add a Loop workspace here by clicking Apps. I'm going to click Loop, and we're going to create a new workspace called Microsoft 365 Tools. Create. And anybody that is a part of this channel is automatically going to be notified that a new loop has been created. Great. We have our new loop. We have our new workspace. And if I go back to my loop over here and I go back to workspaces, you're going to see that in a moment, oh, there it is, Microsoft 365 Tools just added. So we've got this new workspace here that we can work in either way. So we can either do it through the Loop app on the left, or we can do it through the channel. And I think we're going to stick with the channel for the time being. Now, it's important that when you're creating your workspaces that you use a naming convention that makes sense, because you might have channels that are similar, and so maybe it would have been smarter for me to create a loop here called YouTube Training Dash Microsoft 365 Tools. But the other thing we can do here is, if we want, we can customize this loop. So let's go back over here and go back into workspaces, and we're going to rename and style. We're going to call this Microsoft 365 Tools, but we're going to add that prefix. So YouTube Demos Microsoft 365 Tools. Let's give it a smiley, and let's update the cover. And I particularly like kittens, so we're going to go this guy right here. He's great. So once I've created this workspace, I can get access to full features by either moving to it in the Loop application in Teams or opening it in a browser. So over here, I've got YouTube demos, and we've got 2 pages that I've created accidentally. So we'll delete one, and this page we're going to call Loop Demo. And there we go. So we've created our workspace, and we've got our first page, which is called Loop Demo. It's entirely possible that we're doing something that we've done before that we want to recreate. There is a template gallery here. So in our template gallery, we can go what is it that we're actually trying to do? So this is going to be for a stand-up meeting. Maybe it's an issue tracker. You can see they've got a lot of different things in here. Maybe it's tech spec, product spec, OKR tracker, elevator pitch. There's tons in here, but we're just going to say this is a project planning template. And we're going to create this page as a project brief. And all of a sudden, my page has been completely transformed. You'll notice that we've got a consistent thing. So we might have roles here. So this might be the manager, and that might be me. So let's go Ian. And then we've got co-manager. And this is Corey. And then we say worker drone. And this is my favorite demo user, Demo Gorgon. And Demo Gorgon's going to be notified now that that has happened. So now we've got a template that we really like that has a start on things. You can see that Corey is actively working inside of here because you can see the box has been highlighted. And if we wanted to, if we made a bunch of changes to this page, we could actually save this as a template and we would call it whatever we wanted. So maybe it's project planning -adaptive because that's our company. But we could do whatever we wanted here, and then that template would be available to the rest of the team. All right, let's get into components. As I said, components are magic little auto-updating pieces of 365 that you can copy and paste across multiple sections, multiple areas, multiple applications in 365, and they will auto-update. So let's take this goals thing. Let's highlight this whole thing here, and we're going to click on here and go create loop component. So now that we've created a loop component, I can copy it and I can move over to, for instance, Outlook, and I can create a new email. So we'll send an email to my favorite demo monster, Demo Gorgon, and we're going to call this goals component. And I can paste this in here and I can send it over to the Demo Gorgon. And what'll happen here is you'll notice if I actually put something in here, high price, low cost. So if I paste that in there, by the time I come back to the email, it's already been updated. And I'm going to do something over here in another browser window. Okay, goals component. So we got this new loop, and let's say what's the cost, and let's say high priority, and then we're going to go to next price. Now what we should be able to see here is over here all this stuff has automatically been updated. So this is the real power of components. Once you've got them in a document or a anything really, in Teams chat or an Outlook email, anytime you update it, PowerPoint presentation, anytime you update it, it's going to automatically update everywhere else. All right, let's talk about collaboration and the various different types of components. So let's say here, I can hit the / button on the keyboard, and that brings up a new, the new components list here. And let's say I'm looking for a task list here. So let's put in a task list, and let's, now that we've added this task list, let's also make this a component. Perfect. And to collaborate, I can go bake cookies, and I can add Demo Gorgon to the list, and we can see that Demo Gorgon has access. What you would see here is if Demo Gorgon didn't have access, there would be a little plus icon beside his name, which would mean that somebody has to give him access to the loop that you're working on. Instead of due date, so let's set this for tomorrow, and the bucket is to-dos. And then over here we have eat cookies, and that's going to be assigned to me. So Ian's going to eat the cookies, and I'm going to eat those Also tomorrow, I'm not going to spend any time waiting. I'm going to eat them all right away. So that's how you can collaborate. Now, these will all go into a to-do list. So Microsoft To Do. So this does integrate with Microsoft To Do, and you can also integrate it with Planner. So you can see, you can open it in Planner if you like, and see how that syncs across to Planner as well. We've done a video on Planner and To Do already, so check those out if you haven't already. All right, the last thing I want to show you. So let's go into Teams again. And this time we're going to set up a meeting. So let's set up a meeting for Wednesday afternoon at 4. And this is going to be YouTube meeting and demo Gorgon. And is going to be it's a Teams meeting. And let's go more options. All right. So here we have add an agenda. When you click add an agenda in Teams, what you're doing is adding a loop component. So now I can go cookie recipe, and I can say this is going to be demo Gorgon. And this is going to take 20 minutes, let's say. So there's the first part of our agenda. So now there's a YouTube meeting, and demo Gorgon has been invited. He's going to accept. And in demo Gorgon's Teams, which I think we have over here, there will now be a new meeting. And demo Gorgon is going to have access to the loop component as well. So one of the spaces within Loop on the browser version is this meeting notes area. And you'll see any of your meeting notes will show up here. So as long as you're providing good names for your meetings, you will see all the meeting notes come up here. So you can see how Loop ties together multiple various disparate areas of Microsoft 365 into components that can just be copied and pasted into just about everywhere and worked on in real time by your team. I hope you found this helpful in this ever-changing IT landscape. Be adaptive, and we'll see you next time.